Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today our subject is contemporary issues and trends in education. That is lecture number 28 and the topic is quality education and quality content. The outlines of the lectures are quality education, quality learners, quality learning environment, teachers involvement and quality content. Now, what is meant by quality education? A quality education is one that focuses on the whole child, the social, emotional, mental, physical, and cognitive development of each student, regardless of the gender, race, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, or geographic location. It prepares the child for life, not just for testing. The meaning of quality education is one that the pedagogically and developmentally sound and educate the student in becoming an active and productive members of society. A quality education is not one that is measured purely by the test score or by how many words per minute a 5-year-old can read. So to hark back to those simplified measurement is to do a disservice to both the students and phrase quality education itself. Learners who are healthy, well nourished, and ready to participate and learn, and supported in learning by their families and communities. Environments that are healthy, safe, protective, and gender sensitive and provide adequate resources and families. Content that is reflected in relevant curricula and materials for the acquisition of basic skills, especially in the area of literacy, numeracy, and skills for life. And the knowledge in such areas as gender, health, nutrition, HIV/AIDS, prevention, and peace. A quality education is one that focuses on the whole child. A quality education is supported by three key pillars: ensuring access to quality teachers, providing use of quality learning tools and professional development, and the establishment of safe and supportive quality learning environments. So, quality education provides the foundation for quality in society. So, quality education is one of the most basic public services. It not only enlightens but also empowers citizens and enables them to contribute to the maximum extent possible to the social and economic development of their communities. The phrase quality education is used frequently in the development context. It's also the focus of the UN 4 Sustainable Development Goal. But what does quality mean in the context? It can seem ambiguous, but there are some real parameters to define it. Processes through which trained teachers use child-centered approach in well-managed classrooms and schools, and skillful assessment to facilitate learning and reduce disparities. Outcomes that encompass knowledge, skills, and attitudes which are linked to national goals for education and positive participation. Then, quality learners. Learning that is purposeful, learning in which learners are provided with the ability to effectively learn and retain skills and knowledge gained. It is usually associated with or based on student satisfaction with the learning process. Quality learners always have good health and nutrition, means healthy children learn well, and healthy development in early childhood plays an important in providing the basis for the healthy life and successful formal school experience. Adequate nutrition is critical but normal brain development in the early years. Early childhood psychological development experiences. Positive early experiences and interactions are also vital to preparing a quality learners. The benefits of good early childhood programs include better psychosocial development, and effective programs that sought to improve the literacy skills of low income, undereducated mothers found that the mothers' capacities to help develop their children's language competencies increased, especially in the area of listening and speaking. So, overall, successful learners maybe they are leaders in their own learning, they engage with the world around them, questioning everything. Successful learners think for themselves, they are driving for their interest, they push through challenges, they are determined to succeed, they have inner motivation and self discipline, and they exercise their minds and their bodies, they cultivate good habits, they know how and when to ask for help, and they are willing to take risks, fail, and learn from their mistakes. Then the next one is physical element, and that is related to quality learning environment. A quality learning environment must be designed to support all students in their learning process, and the teachers and education support personnel and their missions. It contributes to well being and health and forms the basis for positive environment where everyone can reach their full potentials. Optimal learning environment begin with a positive, productive, and school climate and provide intellectually and emotionally safe, stimulating classroom communities that are personalized and co-constructed by adult and students. So learning environment vary from classroom to classroom and context to context. So there are four types of learning environments, each with unique elements. Learning environments can be learner centered, knowledge centered, assessment centers, and community centered. Wherever the physical element is concerned, then quality of school facilities is there. Interaction between school infrastructure and the quality dimensions. So the classroom climate refers to the prevailing mood, attitude, standards, and tone that you and your students feel when they are in your classrooms. A positive classroom climate feel is safe, respectful, welcoming, and supporting of the students' learning. So the term high quality learning environment encompasses both the school culture and school climate. It generally means the same as positive or quality learning environment. Then class size. Interaction between school infrastructure and other quality dimensions. There is a direct relationship between the kind of learning environment teachers create in their classrooms and students' achievement. So here we shall discuss some specific strategies for developing the optimal classroom climate and culture. Like presence of adequate instructional material and textbooks, working conditions for students and teachers, ability of the teachers to undertake certain instructional approaches. More than that, the other strategy may that address students' needs. Remember that students like adults have not only physical need but also important psychological needs for security and order, love and belongings, personal power and competence, freedom and novelty and fun. So students are driven to meet all these needs all the time, not just two or three of them. So when teachers intentionally address these needs in the classroom, students are happier to be there, behavior incident occurs far less frequently, and student engagements and learning increases. The other strategy is create a sense of order. Remember that all students need structure and want to know that their teachers does not know his content area but also knows how to manage his classrooms. So it is the teacher's responsibility to provide clear behavioral and academic expectations rights from the beginning. So students should know what is expected of them all the time, and another important way to create a sense of order is by teaching students effective procedures for the many practical tasks that are performed in the classrooms. For example, teach students how to enter in the classrooms and become immediately engaged in a learning activity. Distribute and collect material. Find out about missed assignments due to absence and how to make them up. So get the teacher's attentions without disrupting the class. Arrange their desk quickly and quietly for various purposes, and rows facing the front of direct instruction, and pairs for collaborative learning, and groups of four for cooperative learning, and in large circle for class discussions. The other strategy may be greet students at the door every day. As students enter your classrooms, greet each one at the door. Explain that you want students to make eye contact with you, give you a verbal greeting, and depending on the age of students, a high five, first bump, or handshake. The way every student has had positive human contact at least once that day. It also shows students that you care about them as individuals. So, if the students was disruptive or uncooperative the day before, it gives you an opportunity to check in, explain your day's clean slate philosophy, and express optimism for the class. The other strategy that also maybe let students get to know you. Students come to the classrooms with preconceived perception of the teacher. So sometimes it's good, sometimes it can be an obstacle that I wanted my students to perceive me as a trustworthy three-dimensional human being rather than the two-dimensional perception of as a teacher of education. So that they may already have. So since the only way to impact people's perceptions is to provide them with new informations or new experiences. So I would give students a quiz about me during the first week of schools. Of course, it didn't count. So I have had them take out a piece of paper, number it from 1 to 10, and answer questions about me. Then think like, do I have children of my own? Where did I grow up? What is something I value? So what is something I do for fun? So what other jobs have I had besides teaching? So after the quiz, we would go over the answers as a class, while I shared a slide show of pictures of my children, my hometown, and representation of things that are important to me, like family, education, a strong work ethic, fairness, and so on. So I would even get a laugh out of some of their answers. So students enjoyed learning about their teachers, and the quiz gave me an opportunity to share who I am, what I value, and what I experience I bring to teaching. So if the first week quiz isn't something you are comfortable with, think of other ways you can share with your students. Like who you are, what you stand for, what you will do for students, and what you want to do for them. So what you will ask for your students, and what you want to ask of them. So get to know your students. This is another strategy, that the more you know about your students, culture, interest, extracurricular activities, then like personalities, learning styles, goals, or mindsets, so the better you can teach them and teach students. So like ensure yourself about their cultures, talk to them, assign journal prompts, and read and respond to them. Attend extracurricular events, have students complete interest inventories or survey, and have students complete learning styles and personality assessments. Hold regular class meetings, and play team building games with students. And if we see the class size, many countries significantly expanded access to primary education during the 1990s, but the building of new schools has often not kept pace with the increase in the students' population. Educators and researchers have debated the relationship between class size and students' learning at length. Then, psychosocial elements. What are the psychosocial elements? Uh, the first one is a peaceful, safe environment, especially for girls. Then, teachers' behavior that affects safety, effective schools discipline policies, inclusive environments, and non-violence. Psychosocial education is provided to individuals and family in order to promote awareness regarding unhealthy relationships and maladaptive behavior. So, psychosocial education is provided to individuals and families through the course of the abiotic treatment. So, if we consider the examples, so examples of psychosocial factors include social support, loneliness, marriage status, social disruptions, bereavements, and work environment, social status, and social integrations, etc. Peaceful, safe environment, especially for girls. More than often than not, parents place focus on their child's academic performance and achievement with a little regard for the learning environment in which they place their child. But did you know that a positive learning environment is also pivotal to the child's success? So, a positive learning environment allows the child to develop a sense of belonging, trust others, and feel encouraged to tackle challenges, take risks, and ask questions. So, there are three main aspects to be considered in the creation of a positive learning environment. So, these are the physical environment, emotional environment, and respectful and supportive environment. So, researchers to better understand various communities' needs and attitudes. Then, policy reforms are there, the building of latrines for the girl in schools, and institutions reforms, and other things are there like sensitization, campaign to raise community awareness about the value of girls' education. Remember that the physical environment refers to the arrangement of desks and uh, of like students and decorations, the strategic placement of these can create a comfortable and cheerful study ambience. So this is what that we can have about peaceful and safe environment. Then teachers behavior that affect safely. Relative to both girls and boys, parents and teachers express important concerns about teachers who create an unsafe environment for students. Then effective school discipline policies is concerned. So there, students, teachers, and administrators should agree upon school and classroom rules and policies, and these should be clear and understandable. Then, if we talk about inclusive environment, remember that Plan International believes that education should be available and accessible to all girls and boys. So, every child must be able to access and complete an inclusive quality pre-primary, primary, and secondary education in order to meet the goal for education by 2030. Clear? So, an inclusive classroom climate refers to an environment where all the students feel supported intellectually and academically and are extended to the sense of belonging in the classroom, regarding of the identity, learning preferences, or education. So, children of ethnic and language monetaries, minorities, politically or geographically disfavored groups and groups at low socio-economic levels may also suffer from discriminatory policies and practices that hinder the advancement of quality education for all children. Inclusive education is very important because all children are able to be part of their community and develop a sense of belonging and become better prepared for life in the community as children and adults. So, it provides better opportunities for learning. Then, non violence. War and other forms of interpersonal and group conflict clearly have an impact on children's mental health and their ability to learn. So, many young victims of violence suffer lasting physical, psychological, and social, emotional, and behavioral effects. So, although it is difficult for schools to provide safe havens from some forms of violence, so other forms can be effectively prevented through interventions. So then provision of health services are there like reducing absenteeism and inattentions, and potential of school-based health interventions in improving academic performance is becoming increasingly clear as problems of protein, energy malnutrition, micronutrient deficiency disorders, infection, and temporary hunger, and school-based programs that address other major health and nutrition problems that can decrease cognitive functioning, including deficiencies in iron, iodine, and vitamin A, have also been shown to be effective. Then guidance and counseling services, provision of extracurricular activities, provision of school snacks. Then we come to the quality content. So remember that student-centered, non-discriminatory, standard-based curriculum structure should be there for quality content. So uniqueness of the local and national contents should be there, and literacy must be increased, numeracy, and then life, and then student centered, non disciplinary, standard based qualities curriculum structures. So like emphasize deep rather than broad coverage of important area of the knowledge, authentic and contextualized problem of study, and problem solving that stresses skill development as well as knowledge acquisitions. So provide for individual differences, closely coordinate and selectively integrate subject matter, and focus on result or standards and targets for students learning. So gender sensitive and inclusive of children with diverse abilities and backgrounds, and responsive to emerging issues such as HIV, AIDS, and conflict resolutions. And then uniqueness of the local and national content, like it is the main subject area of the primary education. Little variation is found among different regions in the development world. Like nation states, however, tend to have a high degree of consistency in curriculum emphasis over time, but differ sharply from each other, so reflecting unique historical patterns. Then we come toward the literacy. A recent UNICEF study and curriculum showed that literacy skills are taught as a separate subject. Means the UNICEF study found that there is a greater focus on language as a tool for social development. Situations from daily life are incorporated into activities that foster the acquisition of reading and writing skills, and attention to the way literacy is developed is critical, since research has shown that language learning can't be separated from content. So the learning context and agendas people have for learning to read and write have an important impact on the development of literacy skills. And numeracy, also known as quantitative literacy, numeracy encompasses a range of skills from basic arithmetics and logical reasonings to advanced mathematics and interpretative communication skills. So mastery of many curricular areas requires numeracy, from geography and social studies to science and vocational training. Many mathematics educators advocate teaching numeracy skills in an integrated way rather than an isolated subject in the mathematics course. Then where the life skills are concerned, so in UNICEF, however, life skills are defined as psychosocial and interpersonal skills used in everyday interactions, not specific to getting a job or earning an income. So a wide range of examples exist under the UNICEF working definitions of life skills, such as assertion and refusal skills, goal getting, decision making, and coping skills. So this was all about this lecture. Thank you very much for being with me. Stay blessed. Allah Hafiz.